fans or if they're hunters. You know, if you go to someone's house, they get a bunch of deer heads on the wall, stuff like that. So to start small talk with them is a lot easier. You know, what I mean, to ask questions is a lot easier when you have the, you know, the visual side of it where you can see and take in everything. We kind of lose that with the virtual. You know, obviously, you can only see me, my shoulders, and what's behind me. So you got to really, really, really get good with your words, and you got to really, really get good with your questions. You know, I mean, I tell my people all the time, don't waste words. You know, because when we start these presentations and you're on the virtual, you ever see one of them little sands of time thing? You know, when you start it, you flip it over, and when the sand runs out, you're done. Well, the timer starts once you get on the phone. These people are only going to invest so much time over the phone with you, I promise you. So you, to make sure you get all your points across, you got to make sure you know exactly what you're saying. So I grew up in the Vina agency, and I know how strict Tommy is with the scripts. I mean, he's a Nazi with it because he understands it like every other big wig in the game, that if you don't know the foundation of what we're doing, how do you ever grow? How do you build a house without the foundation? So if any time it's important to know your words, it's now. I mean, you can't go into a presentation in and If I hear and I want to choke somebody. It's just a sign of not knowing what to say, and it's a sign of not being intelligent. You know what I mean? We are dictating the show. These people don't know what the fuck's coming. They don't. They have no idea what the next paragraph on the script is. So everything from the start to the finish, we have to be in control. And we have to have some kind of system or script or something, where I used to joke around and say it's the yellow brick road, like the Wizard of Oz. The script is a path to the check, just to get you to ask for it. If I took a new agent, threw him on a Zoom appointment, no script, and I just say sell life insurance, how do you start? How do you transition? Where do you transition? You just walk in the door and say, do you want life insurance? You're just going to flip the coin and hope to God you get lucky? That's not the kind of success rate I think the Vina agency wants, or any agency in the company. So we spend a lot of time on these scripts, and we have a lot of years and a lot of trial and error and experience that helps us figure out ways to make it easier for the up and comers. So believe me, any script you're reading, and I know if Tommy had his hands on it, I mean, this guy's got 12, 13 years, 25,000 renewals. I mean, I would listen, you know what I mean? Because he's approving whatever these managers from the GA to the RJ level are approving for you to say. So if anything, Tommy would back, I'd believe it. I mean, he's a millionaire. I mean, he obviously knows his business better than most. He trained me. So, I mean, be smart, you know what I mean? Make sure you know your script. I'm not going to wait. I mean, I'm just going to keep hammering that for a minute. Make sure you know your script. Make sure you know your script. Because if you don't, you're going to look silly in a presentation. Because all it's going to take is a couple people to throw you off script or throw you off track. And you're not going to know when to come back in or where to come back in at. So it's your way of just always having, you know, what to say next. You know, the nice thing now with virtual, I mean, if you don't even know verbatim, here's my script right next to me. See it? They have no fucking clue I have it right next to me. So, you know, as you're going, just flip the page. They don't need to see it until you don't have to. You know, so take advantage of some of the nice things about going virtual. You know, so, you know, right out the gate, know your script. I'll make it simple. From there, I mean, you got to take in some things. You know, I was talking to Josh yesterday. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys have done phone sales or even had to do telemarketing or something, but you have to have a phone voice. You know what I mean? If you're the guy that has I have a real deep, raspy voice. So, you know, if I talk my normal way the whole way through, I might bore them. You know what I mean? Like, you need different sounds. You need to hear different things. You know what I mean? So make sure you're good when things are, you know, this is where the actor in us has to come out. You know, when I'm talking about happy shit, I got to be smiling. I gotta have it, that look on your face, like, oh yeah, tell me about your kids. Tell me about what you do for work. Oh, how long you been with this lady? How long you been here? I just want to be excited and have energy. You can feel my energy from me and y'all talking. If you come in boring, you're gonna lose their attention right at the gates. So people on my team make fun of me because when I start a presentation, I come around the corner. Hey, what's happening? How you doing today? You know what I mean? It ain't cheesy. I'm just getting their attention. I want to spark their ears. Wake the fuck up is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? In a nice way with a smile on my face. So now I got their attention. From there, what I do with it is on me. You know what I mean? So, I'm just going to kind of, recap a lot of my script, but not how the words are, just kind of the order, like what I'm looking to accomplish through the presentation, especially being new. And in the beginning, when you get them on the phone, you say hello, make sure you're saying their name. Don't sir and ma'am them. You don't want to do it. We're business, man. I mean, I'll respect you, but I know your name, I'm going to say it. You know what I mean? So once I get them back on, when I get them in the appointment, I'm going to, hey, Joe, I'm Chuck. Nice to meet you from American Income Life. We spoke on the phone the other day about your benefits through your union. Make sure this is where I'm planting seeds now. Boom, hit them with the union. I ain't a telemarketer. Your employer is the reason why I'm calling you. Most people aren't going to want to upset people representing their employer. There's a fear factor. Like, if this guy goes back to the president and I'm a jerk or I was rude or did something inappropriate, they can feel that they can risk their job. So I want to make sure that they know I'm not a telemarketer. I know your name. I talked to you the other day, and I'm here on behalf of your union. Obviously, you got to have a spouse. One-leggers on the internet or one-leggers in person are bad. The close percentage on them might be 5%. Because it's the one out we can't get around. How can I ask a married man or woman to make a family decision without their partner? So think about that. Like, I'm asking one of y'all, you're married, you got kids, and this is a major decision. Wouldn't you want both of them there? So there's no reason to do multiple presentations for the same person. I'll reschedule one leg before I'll talk to them. So always make sure you got the spouse there. And then pretty much explaining what, how it works and what they have. That's my job. I'm here to go over what you have and how it works. From there, I'm going to go transition. And a lot of this is like old school script shit. How long you been in the union? Once again, I'm reminding them I'm here because of their work. Let them talk a little bit. And then after they do a little bit of talking and, they tell you certain things, whatever, that's great. And then I'm going to ask them if they've ever been to the meeting. So when they hit me with what's this all about? Well, if you'd have went to the meeting, honey, they would have been there. We have someone from our PR department that shows you everything. Exactly what I'm going to do today. They would have did a demo for you at your union meeting. But I'm guessing you didn't get to see that one, right? Probably had to work some overtime or something. So I don't want them to feel with blame, so I'm going to take it from them. Oh, I get it. You're probably busy. A lot of guys miss those union meetings. From there, rapport is key. Like, there's got to be checklists in my mind. So before I move beyond rapport, I got to feel that these people like me or at least respect me. I got to have a good vibe with them. Like, you know what I mean? And I get it. We're going to get some of the people on the phone that don't want to tell you nothing, don't want to open up to nothing. I get it. You can't give up. You're giving them control. You know what I mean? If you're letting them, who doesn't want to talk about their work? Any man I know out there, that's his purpose. Woman, it's just their purpose. Who don't like talking about work? From there, we got a blessing. I know a lot of people in the world think this is a curse. This is a curse, but COVID, it changed the game for us. Let's be real. How many people are dying unexpectedly right now? How many people are getting this illness and now are medically uninsurable and life insurance uninsurable? You know what I mean? So I could pre-qualify early if they got COVID. Because we know if they got COVID, I can't offer them insurance for 6 months. So I might want to shorten the presentation a little bit, or maybe I'm focusing on the wife or the husband who didn't get it. You know what I mean? So we're gathering info through the whole process of this presentation, of any presentation. So utilizing current events, I mean, it's a blessing right now. It's going to be a blessing for the next decade. You know, then you can even ask them from, is your business considered essential? So now I can find out if they're working, if they got laid off, if they're recovering. So I even know their money situation just in the report. And all I'm doing is asking questions. I'm not telling them shit about me. I want them to talk their ears off. I want them to talk my ears off. If you've ever noticed, the more you talk to somebody, the more comfortable you get with them. It's not coincidence. We're all humans. Don't forget to be a human. You know what I mean? If I go to a car dealership and the guy's a dick, I ain't buying a car off him. I'll go down the street and spend more money just out of principle. So I don't want to be every other insurance agent who's been around them, and I sure as don't want to be aggressive or unlikable. So in the beginning, I always say, you got to have them 3 L's, and the first L I'm gonna grab is like. I got to get that like. Once I feel they're comfortable and they kind of like me, we're smiling. If you can make them laugh, please, you know what I mean? Like, because we're gonna be talking about a lot of gloom and doom and soon, a little bit later down the road. So if I can get them a little bit happy with me, get them to like me, I know moving further, it's gonna be a lot easier. If they're standoffish with me, I'm standoffish with them. The presentation's never gonna get anywhere. 9 times out of 10, you can't even offer a check. They're gonna cut you off before you get to it. Just learn your tone, your facial expressions. They're huge right now. Like if I'm sad, I gotta look sad. If I'm happy, I gotta look happy. My tone's gotta go with it. So if I'm depressed, I'm probably gonna be like, I'm gonna decrease the volume of my voice. Hey, Joe, Mary, I understand things are tough. But unfortunately, these expenses ain't going nowhere. And if you don't take care of them, your family's gonna have to deal with this. Would you want to leave this to your children? Would you want this to be your legacy? A GoFundMe account? So you can see I'm like concerned, compassionate. I feel for them. You know what I mean? And I'm asking a real fucking direct question. You know what I mean? I'm gonna put you on blast. You know what I mean? But if I'm yelling and I'm smiling, hey Joe, hey Mary, if you don't take care of this, your kids are screwed. You get what I'm saying? You ain't getting the same point across. So make sure you know your tone and your mood is based off what part of the presentation you're doing. I think that's huge. You gotta be an actor and you gotta be a chameleon. You gotta be able to relate to everybody, black, white, Hispanic, Chinese, girl, boy, old, young. You know what I mean? Younger people, you guys all want to use that crutch. I was a young salesman myself and I get it. We want that respect so bad. Go earn it. They'll give it to you. Go earn it. They might not respect you right out the gates, but if you do your job right and you finish strong and all your points are valid and they feel that you really are there for the family and them, they'll get from you. The respect will come. You just might have to earn it a little bit later. Now I got some grays, I got some light behind me. I might not have to work as hard to get that respect from the client just because they know I've been through some shit, just because I'm older. That's just how life is. Most people go through more shit through time. It's just facts, to be honest with you. So you got to make sure you got all this stuff ready in your head. And then from there, a lot of it's just reiterating, explain to them, they filled out their card, from there, and then tell them your job. Like, so as you're transitioning, I got to find out if they had COVID. I got to know if they're working, if they know someone who had COVID, if they know someone that died from COVID, how their kids are doing, how old are their kids, what do their kids do, what grandma or mother doesn't love talking about her children. It's generally going to put a smile on her face. I'm going to make her feel good. That's going to get her to like me. From there, I move on. You don't have as much time to build rapport on the internet as you did in person. Keep that in mind. This is where I go back to don't waste words. This is why I'm saying stick to your scripts. They're going to be time sensitive for you, but you also can't get on there. Hey, Joe, let's go over your benefits. Can't do it. Too quick. They don't know you. They need to know you before they want to listen or learn from you. This is how it works. You're a stranger in the beginning. Try not to be a stranger by the time you get to the insurance and stuff. But pretty much, nothing changes. Your jobs go for no cost benefits, some additional benefits you got to qualify for. Right there is just a reminder that I'm here to do stuff for you. And then from there, I think some of the biggest blunders in the business. People don't sell the shit out of this company and what this company does and how it's unique. We're not like every other insurance company. We do things differently. Our timeliness of pay is unmatched. Insurance companies have legally 6 months to pay out claims. Think about that, 6 months. Funerals need paid in 72 hours. You don't think the insurance companies will keep the money in their bank accounts just a little bit longer to collect the interest before they give it to you? So the average return time on a life insurance policy is close to 3 months. That money's never going to be there for the burial. So right there, you're creating a niche, something we're going to do different than any other insurance company. And I don't care if you got 12 of them. None of them are going to be there for the funeral. We will be. This is where I'm just going to go over the 70 years of existence, A+ rated, union niche. We're union employees. We deal with 40,000 unions, 20,000 associations across the country. You just got to set it out there. We're one of 3% of insurance companies in the world that are A+ rated. Think about that. We're one of 3% of insurance companies in the world that's A+ rated. And it's timeliness of pay and our financial stability. Every member could die tomorrow and we could pay out every claim within 72 hours and the company will still be in survival mode. We're still around. We ain't going nowhere. State Farm's the biggest in the world. They go bankrupt. Facts. Think about it. 9/11 happened. 2 insurance companies chipped in because the act of God and the act of war are 2 ways out of selling life insurance to actually have to pay out a policy. New York Life paid and us. Katrina hit. No one paid but us. So you're working for a company that really just goes above and beyond any other insurance company out there. And we've proven it decade after decade after decade. We could have got out of paying for New York, all the New York policies, and we could have got out of paying for Katrina. The other thing is if they're union workers, remind them of the layoff waivers. Remind them of the strike waivers. You get late, you work a full 12 months, Joe? No, you only get to work about 8, 9. So on us, we're going to pick up 3 of those months for free for you when you're laid off. No charge to you. The company will pick up the bill. Your car insurance ain't doing that. Your homeowner's insurance ain't doing that. So once again, I'm reminding them how unique we are. You want to be exclusive. People want the new, as they say. They want something better than everyone else does. And we just got to remind them this is one of the perks for paying their union dues. Pretty simple. Don't jump the gun. I'm not going to really do no cost. I'm going to really tell you much the things I want from the no cost. So when I'm doing AD&D search, if you're in a state where you can use them as a referral, like Maryland, you can get 2,000 to any family. Like you can refer people to get free 2,000 accidental. I don't know if that's the case in Chicago. It's not like that in PA, so we can't use it. But from there, the free, if you can, you got a household of 6 people, that's $12,000 in free insurance that you gave their family if they referred them in. Who's going to turn away that? Number 1 cause of death for a human under the age of 60 is accident based. So I'm giving you the top paying out insurance at your age for free. Why wouldn't they want it? So from the AD&D, if you have that option, run with it. If not, my goal is to talk about death again. Don't get too detailed. This is where I think some people just spend too much time on the no cost, but you don't want to rush through them either because every product I offer, I want them to think it's the best thing in the world. If I blow through the no cost, like, oh, this ain't shit, this ain't shit, this ain't shit. When I get to the important stuff, what do you think they're going to think? This ain't shit. So my goal is to let them understand from the time I start giving them free shit to the end, Everything I'm giving you is wonderful, and it's going to benefit you and your friends and your family. Emergency contacts are a no-brainer. Make sure you get your referrals, and then remind them it's on the union. Non-contributory, non-participating. They picked this bill up for you just for being a good member in good standing. So I'm planting the union seed again. I'm planting death again, and I'm collecting some referrals. What I've learned is don't ask them who, tell them who to give you. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people, well, who would you refer in? Tell them who it's going to benefit. And this really comes to the next ones. Like for instance, with the discount card. I don't know if a lot of you know this or not, but seniors, when they retire, do not get vision and dental. It's not free. They have to purchase it. So if I can eliminate them having to purchase it, and I can give them the free AD&D. Now it's an app too, which is great. They don't even have to do much. I mean, just go to the phone app, it'll tell you exactly where to go. I mean, the average pair of glasses nowadays, these are cheap ones. I still paid $300. You're saving 50% on them. I mean, that's $150 for him. I mean, your eyes and your teeth go when you're old, guys. Facts. I mean, that's what happens with age. That's why everyone old wear glasses. Old people get dentures, not young people. So, I mean, the money they're going to save there. And so the key is one, how nice and simple it is, but the savings is big. This is guaranteed to save grandma and grandpap minimum $500 a year. So I want to plant that seed that I'm saving your grandma and your grandpap $500 minimum and yourself. So don't take them out of the equation. But those are the referrals I want to get. Mom and dad, anyone that's a construction worker. How about anyone in the service industry? These people don't get health care. Be a bartender. Be a waitress. You ain't getting this shit. How many people in the service industry are struggling right now? So imagine if I could save them on their health care. You know, so tell them who to give you. You know, I mean, that's really the big thing with the AD&D. I don't ask. These are the people who's going to benefit from them. What's their name and numbers? You got to take them. Don't ask for them. I'm going to tell you who to give me. And I'll do it politely. You know what I mean? But if I'm sitting there asking, too much of a risk. I don't like open-ended questions. So the discount card from there, you know what I mean? I use the will kits. I think the will kits are huge for referrals. Because I've learned over my days that most people don't have a will. They don't. Just like most people don't have the right life insurance, most people don't have a will. And if you Google this, you'll find it that the average will for a family, so husband and wife, is anywhere from 500 to 1,000. It could exceed that depending on how much stuff you have. We're going to give you that will for free. So the key, and I remind them, the only thing that you're going to do is he's going to ask you the questions that we're going to give you. So I just got the test and you're the answers. So when we send this kit out to you, we give you a dummy book. So if you make any mistakes, do it on this one. And then when you're ready, put everything in pen, go to a notary. Now it is a live document in court. So instead of paying $1,000 to get this done, the union picked it up for you for free. Anyone you could think of that could use a will, let me get their name and number. I'll give them a call. And if they got one, I'm done. If they don't, I'll get one out to them for free. I just can't randomly send shit to strangers. So I need you to refer them in. You know, the family information guide. Now, I hope you guys are using this. I don't know if you are. This is really where I'm going to gather the bulk of my info. And it's going to be the first time I start to proactively eliminate rebuttals. The key to this is create the rebuttal before they do. So, as you're going down your checklist and you're looking, I find the key things is who's going to be the day. So to me, the family guide, you die tomorrow, who's coming to the house in the next 24 hours? This is going to benefit them because this is going to tell them what you want. So they're going to know if you have life insurance, they're going to know what banking institutions you want. They're also going to know how you want buried. So it's a lot of good information, military, if you need to know, last will and testament, So whoever the executor is, that's who's probably going to take care of that, which is usually their oldest child or the most responsible one. From there, I'm not really pulling policies yet. A lot of people, I think, jump the gun and try to pull the policy at that point. All I want to know is if they have something. So I generally, in the house, I used to take a pencil and I said, I'm going to set you up on the first one. This is your American Income Life one. The reason I'm putting this in pencil because it's temporary. It's not a permanent benefit. So when you fill out yours, anything that's permanent, put in pen, anything temporary, put in pencil, just because you don't want families where it's looking for money that ain't there. Where I really transition when we get to the family info guide is the big thing is creating probate. Because a lot of people, and a lot of you guys probably don't know even what probate is, but when you die, so when mom and dad are alive and mom dies, the transfer of money is easy. She can still go to the same bank account, same investment, she could pull money from anything that he could have pulled it from. When the last living spouse dies, the transfer of money is not the same. Don't let someone fool you and say, I got my daughter's name on the account and they have complete access to my money. Nope, not true. There will be a cap. And if most of them, if they have to have both signatures to sign off a large amount. So if mom died, they need a death certificate. She's not there to sign, so there's no access to the money. Probate's just like this. When you die, the government gets involved now because of the taxes. They're going to come in and assess all your values, from your property to your cars to jewelry to vacation homes, you name it, bank accounts, 401ks, whatever you have. They're going to put a dollar amount to it. And then when that's done, it all goes to your estate. At your estate, two things happen. Anyone you owe money to, that's where they collect. This is mostly hospitals because people, for some reason, think it's free to die. The average cost of death, if you die at home to the family, is $7,000. The average cost of the family, if you die in a hospital, is $33,000. Think about that. You're going to leave that kind of debt to somebody. It's either going to be to your wife or your kids. God forbid you both die together. Then you leave double the burden, double the medical expenses. So when you're pitching your funeral costs, that's why I always say funeral and final expenses. But from there, the estate happens. They collect, the will that we got you for free will disperse who gets what. But before they get dime one of it, unfortunately, they have to pay a tax. And in PA, it's inheritance tax to the children, or 4.5%. It's 9% to anyone after that. And if it goes to anyone beyond family, it's a full 15%. And on top of that, you have to pay a federal tax at any level, and that's 10%. The statute of limitations on the state paying out, there is none. Life insurance, they have 6 months. There's a rule. So in 6 months, I'm at least getting this. If two people in the family dispute the will or disagree, probate can extend as long as they take it to court. This could be years. It could be 5 years. You guys are all pretty young, but I don't know if you remember the Anna Nicole Smith stuff, where she met that old billionaire. When he died in the will, he left her everything. His son fought that shit to the Supreme Court. Both of them died before either one of them seen a dollar. It all went into a trust to her daughter. So, the process isn't like everyone thinks. They think, oh, I got money in the bank to be able to get it. The other thing, folks, if you really think we're going to be spending green money in the next 10 years, you're nuts. We are definitely going digital. They're trying to eliminate change. The coin shortage. We're pretty much phasing out money. Everything's going to be on that card. We're even making currency on the internet. So you can always just remind them that you don't know if cash is going to be an option. That's where the guy's going to tell you he's going to put it in the safe in the basement. That might just be fire paper, buddy. You might be burning wood with that. From there, Now, later, what do you think I'm not going to hear when I go to close him? I shouldn't hear I got money in the bank. And if he does, I'm just going to revert back to what I taught him in the middle of the presentation. So that's my first main rebuttal that I've eliminated. With the freedom, when I do the family guide, I know that I'm finding out option 2 is, do they have coverage? You don't want to find out at the end, oh, I already had coverage. Definitely at the close, oh, I got insurance, I'm good. I don't want to hear that when I'm going for the money. So if you're using your needs analysis, I don't know if you guys do or don't, asking, do you have work insurance or do you have any insurance outside of work? This is where I pull the policy. Hey guys, there's 40 different types of insurance out there. Some of them are tricky, some of them misleading, some of them you got to cash out early, some you keep forever. Do you know which kind you have? And if they don't, I'm hoping they don't, do me a favor, just go grab the policy for me. There's going to be a header on there. It'll tell me exactly what you get. From there, I know what they have because there's 2 needs. Don't be afraid of term insurance. You need to protect someone's income and you need to protect that funeral. So if you start beating the shit out of term, you ain't selling it later. It ain't happening. You just destroyed it. And term isn't always bad. And the nice thing about our term insurance, it's always convertible. So you're turning a 3% product, because most term insurances pay out at around 3%, into 100% payout with us. So you can keep it cheap while you can't afford it to be the permanent. And once your money's right, switch it to the permanent so you're not wasting your money. You're getting your money back. No one wants to invest to lose. Child safety, child safety is child safety. Just scare the shit out of them with abductions. 800,000 kids a year get abducted. If they're not found in the first 24 hours, the odds of them coming home alive are slim to none. Studies have shown if they're found in the first 24 hours, 7% of them will make it. Just scare them. Because it's scary. We got politicians raping kids. If you don't think Joe Schmo down the street's doing it, if any time child safe should be huge is right now. With that whole Epstein thing and the Maxwell and how big child trade is in America right now. This should be a no-brainer. Like anyone grandkids, cousins, nieces, nephews, friends that have children that don't have these kits are at risk. Because what this is going to do is give them time. These kits eliminate 3 to 4 hours of questioning. I just told you if they ain't home in 24 hours, they generally don't make it home. So what am I missing? Time. So I just gave you 4 hours. You don't think that increased your odds of bringing them home? Couldn't have reduced it. And it'll take you 10 minutes to fill this out. And all I got to do is make a phone call to get it to you. So, make sure, and once again, this is where the actor and you got to come out. You can't be laughing and joking at the child safe. You can't be laughing and joking during wills. You can't be laughing and joking in family guides. You got to be business now. We was cool in the beginning. We were friendly, but now I'm doing my job. So now I'm a professional. So I got to make sure they understand I'm a professional. I feel the next part of the presentation is the hardest part for anyone new. And I don't know why this is where the money's made, but it's the transition, as I say, from Santa to salesman. Because in the beginning, I'm giving all kinds of fucking gifts. And you have nothing but, why wouldn't you love me? I just saved you a couple grand on your will and your health expenses. I'm protecting your kids. I'm protecting your executor. I'm educating the shit out of you at no cost to you. The read-off letter so basically, I watch a lot of new people get a little butt tight right there. That's for some reason, their booties tighten up a little bit because they know this is where the decision making's coming. This is where the debate's coming. This is where the argument might come, the disagreement might come. So you get nervous, you're screwed. When you're nervous, you don't show confidence. I need to be more confident now than I was at any point of the presentation. I gotta be so on point now that there's no negotiating, there's no argument. This shit's going to be such a fucking no-brainer that at the end, you're going to probably want more. That's how my brain works. I am helping you way more than you'll ever help me with that one goddamn payment I get off of this. Because for the rest of your life, you got peace of mind. Because you know if you go out them doors and you don't come home, financially, your family is covered. Who's helping who? The one paycheck I get or the lifetime of paychecks his family will get? Remember this, we're doing more for them than they'll ever do for us. I promise you that. Think about it. You know, I might make $600 on a $100 check. This might pay out 300,000. Who won? You know what I mean? People do die young, guys. Believe me, I've had death claims. When you have your first one, you'll learn. But make sure your read-off letter, the biggest thing to help you is making sure you do the read-off letter because you're putting it back on the union. You're taking it off yourself, putting it back on the union. It ain't our fault. I'm just here to relay the message that your union set up for you. And if you would have went to the meeting, this wouldn't be strange to you. My show basically is simple. I want them to keep up with the Joneses because this is what all the members are enrolling at. I got to make sure they understand that this is their service period. So there is no time to think about it. And it's such a no-brainer. Why would you? The one thing I've left out, and I waited till now to do it, is tie downs. Any major point that I'm trying to get across, I have to tie it down with something. Does that make sense? We on the same page? And I gotta hear a verbal response. Don't just say, does it make sense, and continue. I need you to tell me, does it make sense? Yes or no? I need to hear it. This is my way of gauging if they're listening to me. In person, it's easy. I'm right in your face. Over the internet, you guys wouldn't know that I'm watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians right behind you. I think Kim Kardashian's a bad bitch, so I like looking at her. None of y'all would know. None of y'all know that I got basketball shorts under me. You don't know. You know what I'm saying? We ain't in front of them. So think about it. Keep that in mind. You know what I mean? It's real. But from the show basically on, you know, this is where now we're getting to the nitty gritty. And I feel the best way to sell life insurance is to educate life insurance. Explain to people why people get term. Explain to people why people get whole life. Term is to protect your income and your big debts, like your mortgage, college funds, whatever. Obviously, whole life is built more to pay for your funeral and your final expenses. One is a temporary insurance, one is permanent. So one is a what if I die young? What if I don't pay the house off in time? What if I don't make it to old age? That's what term insurance is for. What if? When I die is when whole life's coming in because it's going to pay now or when I'm 100. It's that simple. But make sure you don't beat them up. Tell them what they're used for. Most people get term insurance to protect the income. That's why you pay a little bit of money for a large payout, but the odds of it paying out is less than 3% because the average human is living to 80 years old. Term insurances are ending at retirement, just like your work insurance. That is a group term. You don't even own it. Whole life is just like it says, your whole life. No one's ever going to have to pay for your funeral. You're never going to be a GoFundMe account, and you're never going to leave a legacy of a burden. Because believe me, they'll be sad for that first month when you're gone. But when month 2 comes along and now they're broke because you didn't handle your business, that's real. That's what's going to happen. Your kids are going to resent you. I had to pay for a funeral for my wife's father. I was 30 years old. This bum didn't have no coverage, no nothing. Stuck me with $9,000 unexpected. I met the motherfucker one time in my life. Thank you, $9 grand. I could have put that in my son's account. I could have went on a nice vacation. Maybe I wanted to buy a motorcycle. But I never get that now because he didn't prepare for the future. And a lot of times people are just ignorant, don't care. You're going to run into that. You're not going to sell everybody. I mean, do some pre-qualifying. I'm not a big fan of doing the takeaway that much. I stick to the needs takeaway, the major ones from oxygen, cancer, heart attack, you know what I mean, stuff like that. I don't go into to the application and do the whole thing yet. I just don't think there's a point until I know whether or not they're going to get something. You know, from there, you know, some of the basic things I'm going to ask people, you know, Mary, if Joe would die tomorrow, could you pay the bills without him? That's simple. And I got to wait for a response now. Don't just run on. Yes or no? Joe, if Mary died, could you pay the bills without her? I'm waiting. You know what I mean? And this is right before I pitch. I'm going to remind them right before I pitch. You just told me neither one of y'all asses could make it without the other. Use your freedom of choice, timeliness of pay. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys are using the funeral charts. You know, the funeral chart where you can put it up and you can share it if you're on your slides. And I'd literally make the client go to their age and go to the right and tell me that number. I want them to see it on their own. And if you don't believe me, there's the website right in the middle that we use. So you can go on the website too. It's 100 years of data. Who are you to negotiate it? All they're doing is projecting it forward. It's non-negotiable. These are factual numbers. You can't get it cheap. And don't let someone sell you, I know somebody that knows somebody that owns a funeral home. Life insurance is state regulated, and so are funeral costs. And they're all linked to the housing market. So every year, whatever the inflation rate is, that's what a funeral goes up every year. Non-negotiable. So if inflation rates go up, which they're probably going to do, that means things are going to go up. In 2000, funerals were $5,000. In 2021, they're hovering close to 15. They tripled over the last 20 years when the rule of thumb was they would double. Google it. It's facts. I'm not guessing. I don't guess. That's what average hospital expenses. You die at home 7, in the hospital 33. That's a bill's getting left to somebody. So when you tell me you just got 30,000 for your funeral, and I'm telling you to get 60, this is why. I'm justifying why they get more money. This is going to cover the taxes, the hospital expenses. I mean, you don't know how many goddamn other bills that are going to come up. You know what I mean? You just don't know. So this is your way of leaving money behind to protect your family from the unexpected. You know, at the pitch, you know, I mean, some people like the 1, 2, 3 pitch, you know, the ABC. Some people like a single pitch. You know, I'm more of a two option pitch, but that's my preference. You know what I mean? So my option A is the funeral and the hospital expenses. So I usually double up. So if it says 30, I'll give them 60. Just for the fact that I know between taxes and hospital expenses, they're going to need it. I'm going to throw in, you know, income protection on both of them, and I'm going to offer them with everything the needs analysis asks for. Option B is going with the one they chose. So after I do my insurance education, I'm going to make sure that they tell me which one they prefer. So my option B is this. All right, you said you prefer the whole life. I'm going to get you the whole life. You said you prefer the term. I'm going to get you the term. That's option B. And pick. You know, make it easy. The close should be simple. Which one do you want? Don't ask them what they think. Don't ask them to think about it. Which one do you want? I'm assuming the sale. Because I know you need both, but I know you can't go with none. So why would I ask them which one do they think? Which one do you want? Verbiage is key, guys. I promise you. And other than that, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, I didn't want to really get into depth on presentation types because I don't know exactly what Tommy has you guys running for a script. I wrote my own, so I have, my slides, my presentation, but that's kind of the gist of what I do when I train new people. If you were a new agent with me and we're sitting in a room and we're workshopping together, I'm really breaking down the things that you don't realize and the seeds that are getting planted that you don't realize that, will help you later, and getting people to say yes to you a lot. It's a subconscious thing. You're getting them they're listening, they're doing what I'm telling them. So at the end, I think it's a little bit easier to close as well. Proactively eliminate rebuttals. I don't want to hear I got to think about it. I don't want to hear I can't afford it. I don't want to hear nothing about it in the bank, and I don't want to hear your insurance is good. I'll prove you why each one of them's not. And that's a lot of times in the rebuttal phase. So, I don't know what your rebuttal scripts are. I just make sure that they can't tell me that their kids are going to get it in the bank, because I've heard that a million times, and I know they can't do it. I don't want to hear anything like silly that, I got money in a safe. I don't want I got to think about it. That just means you brush through yourself, basically. Get a tie down when you're done. Any point, like I said, any point I'm trying to get across, I got to get a tie down and I got to hear a verbal. I got to hear you say it. But doodle, that's about it for me. It's about 50 minutes of gibberish, I think. I hope you guys learned something. You guys,
yes, sir.
You can open up the floor to questions on pretty much anything you can think of or anything I went over.
All right, anybody got any questions here?
Got a question.
All right, we got a question here.
Shoot.
The camera's actually in the front, so you can walk to the front and talk to him. This is Stephen Ellis. We call him Spider-Man.
All right, Spidey, don't be shooting no webs at me.
I'll try not to, but thanks for sharing everything with us. Really appreciate it. And our internet kind of cut out a couple times. I was wondering if you could just repeat what you said about your two options, what you showed for like first and the second. We kind of missed that.
So option A is the needs analysis. You're going to get the whole life, the 3 to 5 years of income protection, accidental, head starts, whatever it recommends for everything. So I'm showing them everything. This is a perfect scenario. If you have all this, if you die young or later, you're covered, because your income's going to be protected. If you die young, funeral's still going to be protected. Option B is the one they chose. When I asked them after I did the insurance education, which one do they think's best? So if they tell me whole life, I'm just going to make sure their whole life is there and maybe complement it with a small accidental. So you're going to definitely pick one of them, right? You told me you like that one, so I know I'm getting B. I'm just trying to get to A as well.
We lost you again.
What's that?
So we lost you again for the
All right, where we
First
at?
one's the second one was
show me their whole or
Whatever they chose, they like. So after you educate them on insurance, you should be qualified. Like, which one do you think's best? Like, do you think the whole life's best? Do you like term insurance? If you had to pick, which one would you choose? Whatever one they tell me they would choose, that's option B.
well, thank you.
Mm-hmm. How you gonna say no to something you told me you need and you like?
any other questions here?
I have a question.
Shoot.
All right, Lita.
So I was wondering, just because we deal with a lot of different kinds of people with the unions and the wills and the child safety, do you change your tone depending on like the age or the circumstance of the person? Like if you're dealing, like
I'm
how
a
would
little,
you
if I'm with a little old lady, I ain't all aggressive and intense. If I'm with a guy in his 35, 40s, or you carpenter, where I can be a little bit more aggressive, this is where I said you got to kind of be a chameleon. You have to adapt to their personality, not them adapt to yours. So this is where the actor comes in, you know what I mean? Tommy used to put pencils and pens in people's mouths if they wouldn't smile, to force you to smile. Bite on a pencil, force you to smile. Kill them with kindness, hit them with facts. Remember, we're dealing with numbers, guys. This stuff's non-negotiable. You don't get to choose. If a funeral's 15,000, it's 15,000. You know, so at the end, it's a lot easier for me because I'm just hitting them with numbers. Like, this is what you bring in. This is 3% of your income. We're going to set this aside into some form of an protection for your family. Another thing I'm going to give you guys some advice on that I watch a lot of other agencies do. Try to stay away from the selling the investment side. All this is going to do is trigger them to say, I got a financial advisor. I don't even want to go down that fucking road, especially if I'm going to be the one creating it. You're right. You're going to make more money with your financial advisor. I agree, but it's not guaranteed. And in the last 2 decades, I've watched that stock market crash numerous times. So you're putting your money at risk. And not everybody, they teach you to diversify. You're going to put some money in high risk stuff. You're going to put some stuff in low yielding bonds. You know what I mean? If anything, we're a low yielding bond. So I don't want to really go investment because that's not where you're going to make your money off this. It's on the tax deferred. You don't pay no taxes. So right there, I made 15%. Right there. And if there's any profit on above it, like if you're young, you'll never take a paid up option. Go that route instead of the investment. You really make your money on the paid up options, but that's kind of next level stuff. That would be something your managers would teach you. But definitely you got to tone it down, honey. You're 100% right. Who you're with, you got to kind of emulate.
Good.
For example, like if you're with older gentleman who's maybe kind of aggressive himself, would you meet that? How would you meet that aggression that he's like putting
I
forth?
smile a lot to them.
Okay.
It throws them the fuck off. It does. I just, oh, okay. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. I'm thinking in my head, you dick. Yeah. You know what I mean? Honestly, I'll smile a lot. I'll let them vent a lot. They just some people are just natural bitchers. They wake up to bitch. The world's against them when it isn't. You're going to run into that person. It's facts. We all know them. Like, my mom's that person. She gets up, she's mad at the fucking world. Like, what are you mad about? You worked in 40 years. You sit home all day on your fat ass watching TV. What are you mad about? I don't get it. They just mad. They wake up. You ever hear wake up on the wrong side of the bed? I've heard that excuse for too long. So you just got to understand this. You just got to let them motherfuckers bitch. Now, if they start doing stuff where they're pushing the limits of my integrity or who I am as a person, I'll humble you. You're not a customer. You're a client. And I know we deal with your union. I'll remind them here on your union, I'm sure your employers wouldn't appreciate this. Just like my employers wouldn't appreciate if I treat you bad. So sometimes you just got to call them out. Because you ain't going to get no further in the presentation if you don't. But never insult. No self-gratification. That's where people fuck up.
I had a question, and I do want to thank you for spending the time with us today. Now, I just wanted to get a quick rebuttal from you. Like, what if you're in a close and you explain everything perfectly? What would you say is one of your go-to rebuttals that you would use to combat whatever they might have to say?
You got to give me the rebuttal first.
Okay, so yeah, man. I don't see why, we have to do all of this right now, or, why you guys are seeming to pressure us to get this right now. We fill out the letter we get the letter every year, to do this. So.
Well, the main reason is, sir, is every year that you keep putting this off, the cost is just continuing to rise. So the one thing I'm really just trying to do is save you money on something that's inevitable. Do we agree that we both know that you need funeral expenses and it's not cheap anymore? I'm waiting for you to talk now.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, right now, we just got some things going on, and I don't think it would really fit, within our budget to do
Well,
this.
this
Second.
is why I asked you before if 3% of your money would affect the other 97, and you said it wouldn't. What changed?
I don't know, man. I guess it's just more real now.
So you're saying this amount is too much. So the good news is it's member owned. So I can customize this to whatever's affordable to you and your wife. So if this amount's too much, what isn't? Because we know we need something.
Right. I mean, I don't know, man. We're just really like scraping nickels and dimes right now.
If they're that broke, get the fuck out. If they're that broke, honestly, if that's really the answer,
okay.
like they're poor, I don't want to sell them nothing. It's just gonna cancel anyway.
Right.
So
I'm not really good at creating those type of situations because I don't really get too many of those type of situations because I do the 3 to 5%, proactively closing them. But I just wanted to see what maybe would be one of like a good close to add to our rebuttals or like to add to our closes to, help add some fire to the close.
I'll make it real easy for you. There's 2 things you got to do in every rebuttal phase.
Okay.
Why and who. So what I mean by why and who. So if they say they got to think about it or this or they can't afford it or whatever, why? Tell me why you got to think about it. Tell me why you can't afford it. Because you told me earlier and when we figured out your income and we took that money aside, everything was golden. And then you knew it was an enrollment period before I went over anything. That's why I asked you up front. So what are we missing? Why? So I want them to tell me, because a lot of times people just say no to say no. No, it creates 0 reaction. Yes creates a reaction. You feel what I'm saying? So it's easy to, nah, I'm good. You didn't even think about it. So I'm going to make you think about it. And then when they still give me that bullshit, I'm passing the burden to someone that they care about. So I get it, my dude. You keep putting this off. You keep putting this off. One day you become uninsurable, and now little Steven over there has got to pay for your funeral. Is that what you want? Because if you don't pay for it, your next of kin will. Is that really their responsibility to pay for your funeral? Would you really put them in that bind? Sir, do you know the average American only has $8,000 in savings? And the average funeral was pushing 15? The world isn't prepared for this. So why would you want to leave that last memory, legacy, thought? And this goes back to when I was telling y'all before. And I'll remind, hey, buddy, they're going to mourn you for the first month. But when month 2 comes in and all these bills they got to pick up that they weren't expected, that's really going to be your last memory. So you're literally telling me for $70 a month, it's going to affect you that much that you're willing to risk your family's livelihood, because it only takes one generation to fuck up the next 5.
I got a question for you. What's up, big dog?
What's up, Pimp?
Hey, so you lagged out. I want you to explain the where you said how the money in the bank, if they say, hey, we have money in the bank and this will be able to cover final expenses. I want you to just go over the process of the government and the money in the bank that their family would need to see, because you lagged out when I was trying to write that down.
Well, anything in the bank, when it goes beyond the spouses. So remember, the wife and husband have access to everything. When it goes to anyone, it's going to get taxed. This is where probate comes in. This is where the government does their assessments of your value of your property and your income. From there, when that's all done, that will create your estate. At your estate, the bill collectors come to collect, and then whatever left over goes to whoever you use the will to designate it to. Before they receive any money or property, they have to pay the upfront tax. So if you're leaving $100,000 worth of shit, they're gonna have to come up with $5 grand before they see penny one. So that's 5,000 more out of pocket on top of funeral expenses. And legally, they're just not gonna have access to it. I don't know if I cut out or not.
No, that was good. Thank you.
Mhm.
Anybody else got any other questions before we get them off here?
What I'm doing with the probate stuff, guys, is I'm creating a time gap. And it's facts. I don't want them relying on that money because it ain't gonna be there to rely on. And don't end up in a nursing fucking home. Don't liquidize everything, you have nothing. 74% of widows in their 70s end up in some form of a nursing facility. Before the state picks up dime one, they liquidize and run you out. That's where the paid up options come up later with whole life. So, because they'll go after that money too.
Great stuff.
You tell me, dude, you got me as long as you need me.
You guys are awesome. Thank you, Chuck, for hopping on here and giving us that fire. We took a lot of notes. These guys got pages on pages of notes, so we definitely appreciate it. And we hope to have you back here soon one day. You know, sorry for over and over with us. We appreciate it.
No
Thank
doubt,
you,
man.
Chuck.
Have a good one.
Have a good day, guys.
Okay.